Well, hello again, and welcome to Roland's Reviews. Do me one small favor, please, folks. Hit that little thumb. That is the like button. If you enjoy this content, please hit the subscribe button and hey, leave a comment. I will try my very best to respond. Let's look at today's topic. Dear Black community, stop blaming slavery for everything. And then I also say, ignore the race hustlers. You know, we have spoken about that on this channel extensively. And before you can correct a problem, folks, you have to, do what we all have to do, an honest self-assessment and see how we can fix the problem. So I was watching some content creators today and I ran across this video and I'm like, this guy is saying exactly what we've been saying on this channel. And we have to stop with the excuses, folks, so that we can improve the situation. So let's see what this guy is talking about. And, as you watch the video, let me know, what your thoughts are. And those of you who have been on the channel for a while, you're going to say, oh, yeah, I remember you talked about that. So let me know how you feel. And we're going to get started. And I will keep up with your comments in the comment section. Here we go.
If you've never seen me before, this is the best way I can describe myself. I am the guy who says the quiet part out loud. Simple as that. I don't do it for clickbait. I don't do it for rage bait or any other type of bait. I just do it because it has to be said. Somebody's got to say some of these things. And what I'm about to get into today is probably going to be one of my more quote unquote controversial subjects, just because we've made a taboo to talk about these things. These conversations have been gatekept and people have created all sorts of taboo and fear and stigma around them, right? If you say these things, you are a sellout and you are no longer part of the group. Well, guess what? I done revoked my damn quote unquote black card a long time ago. It done been revoked, right? It's been canceled. My membership has been gone for a while now. So I'm okay telling it as it is. Here it is. Every relevant empire and even many irrelevant empires throughout history had slaves.
And just so you know, as I get rid of this commercial, I'm an avid follower of Thomas Sowell, and I watched some of this guy's videos, so I think he is as well. So I think he's from his readings, from Dr. Sowell and from Dr. Sowell's teachings. This guy, to me, is a younger version of Dr. Sowell. All right, so let's see what else he has to say, because he's saying the same thing.
Yeah. Now I can already hear that mental chatter going the hell up, but you don't. How dare you? You don't understand. The chattel slavery was the worst form of slavery. The black man has experienced worse slavery than anybody else. Yeah, here's the thing. All slavery is a terrible idea. It is inhumane, and I am thankful that we have mostly evolved our way out of the concept of viewing a human being as a piece of property. But I will say this. In Africa, western part of Africa more specifically, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast area, there was a tribe of people known as Dahomies. I'm not making this up. I did an entire video known as Dahomey tribe, who not only treated their slaves terribly, but would literally sacrifice them. Let's say if a royal a family member of royalty, the chieftain, whoever it was, were to pass away, 4,000 slaves would be brutally massacred. Now we can go down to South America, where we have the Aztecs, the Toltecs, etc. And we have human sacrifice taking place. Who do you think was being sacrificed up there at the top of those pyramids, right? Hearts being pulled out in real time, rolled down the stairs, a sacrifice to the gods, or burnt as an offering, a sacrifice to the gods. These were enslaved people, servants, if you want to call them. They were less than livestock. They were low as dirt in these societies. Now, the reason I bring this up is not to belittle chattel slavery, but it is to say, folks, we have had a dark human history, and we have been able to overcome these aspects of history. And in many cases, quite rapidly, communities of people who have gone through extremely traumatizing situations, right, have been able to overcome those. A great example as just an analogy is the story of, what's his name, Viktor Frankl, right, within Auschwitz, a man who saw family members essentially being unalived right in front of him, who experienced some of the greatest trauma. And this man came out of one of those camps and became not only a prolific individual as far as, a psychologist, a writer, a speaker, but was somebody who had a level of resilience and a level of personal agency that you don't find in most people who haven't been through 1% of that, right? Most people would just be victimized for the rest of their life. This man did not see himself as this victim. He saw himself as a victor, somebody who conquered even the most difficult, tumultuous aspects of his life. Again, many people are going to be victimized in ways, but are you going to carry that with you throughout life? And so when we get into the conversation of slavery, we can even talk about colonization and things of that nature. But slavery is really the hotbed, because it's the one that's pushed the most. It's the one that is used to emotionalize people. Race hustlers, white liberals, these groups of individuals benefit from this continued perpetual story of you're a slave, and that's why you are in the place that you are, right? Taking away the reality that even after, or even at the end and in the midst of slavery, there were Black folk who were able to not only do for self, but were able to create lives that were far beyond their white counterparts, who genuinely had a more than a leg up, we could say, right? Well, a little more than just privilege at those times. When the Democratic Party was trying to keep slavery intact and then created Jim Crow laws, and we step into the Jim Crow era, and you still have Black folk who are thriving in those spaces, even though you have this Democratic Party who is trying to eradicate and crush any element that is not of their own, right? You have people who are prospering in those times, and we fast forward to 2024, and now we want to talk about this is the result of slavery. This is the result of culture. It's the result of this isn't the Bible.
And you can check. I did a video on this because I've read. I have a couple of Dr. Thomas Sowell's books. I actually did a video on this. So this guy, I'm like, yeah, he's dead on accurate. Okay, so let's listen.
Byproduct of racism, because an individual who goes through let's say a lifetime's worth of just the most brutal racism can still come out on the other side and create something for themselves, build a life, become successful, thrive, get married and have children, have a family, right? We now live in a day and age where these things are more rare than they are the norm, where the family unit is broken apart. Yet in slavery, you had more families together than you do today. And again, I am going to highlight some of the more specific things that happen as far as policy, but the most relevant one is Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, Democratic president in 1964, right after JFK was assassinated. He signs the Civil Rights Act after he's forced into it. I say this story every time like this because we can't negate the actual history. We always just kind of leave these gaps. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to attribute the cause to the person who created. So we have the Republican House and the Republican Senate, or majority Republican House, majority Republican Senate, that pushed the Civil Rights Act through, right? As they usually did. In the same way, in 1965, they were the ones who pushed through Emancipation Proclamation. It's been in their DNA the entire time. 1954, creation of the Democratic Party for the purpose of the eradication of slavery. But I digress. So we got LBJ in 64. We step into 65. And now this man is signing all these reform. All of a sudden, he's a reform man, right? He loves black people. He used to be a staunch racist. Now he loves black folk. And so he is essentially creating bills that are welfare reform, social programs, etc. His intention was to make sure this group of people was relying upon government, which is what most totalitarian style governments do anyway, right? They want as much control as humanly possible. And so that's exactly what they did. And they pushed incentive programs to make sure that families were broken apart. They didn't say break apart your families, but if you have kids and you have no man in the house, no husband, you're going to get more of a bonus from us. You're going to get more money. So imagine you're now in a situation where that's not only being incentivized, but it's being normalized. It's okay to do that. Leave that man because he's a problem anyway. And the government can give you more money than that man ever could bring into the house. And that happens 1 generation, 2 generation, 3 generation, 4. And all of a sudden we find ourselves in a place where it's a normalized thing. That's why I get to culture. The likes of a Thomas Sowell, one of the most brilliant minds of all time, speaks on culture for this reason. Culture is the way in which your beliefs, your value system, your morality, right? When you have a culture that incentivizes or at the very least does not make criminal behavior taboo, you're going to have criminal elements within your environment. It is only when you make it taboo, you make it something shameful. You go into the Japanese culture, etc. Even the poor of the Japanese, stealing is it's not an option for you. Singapore, you might get your damn hand cut off. You understand? They're not going to play about these things. Even the poor, the destitute, those living in rural surroundings, those who might be making $2 a day or $1 a day. You don't find that, just because they're poor, they're criminal. It's one of the greatest misconceptions, if not a lie, that has been perpetuated to say that, poverty creates criminality. No. Somebody said in my comment section on one of my more recent videos, they said that's very insulting to a lot of poor folks. And I agree. It should be insulting if you are somebody living in abject poverty. To say that you, who is a law-abiding citizen, who has a moral compass and a value system that won't allow you to do certain things, to live a certain way. You still have poor folks, but there's family units. You go out in them rice fields in China or something like that, right? You have a mother and a father and a child, or children, whatever it may look like, because that's a cultural normality. And so when we point to slavery did it, slavery did a lot of things, and it did it did a lot of psychological harm, but there's also been a lot of those psychological barriers being broken throughout time. There are those who made a decision to go beyond it, to break those generational curses. So when you are somebody who subscribes to that, let's say you do have trauma that's been passed down generation to generation, why not be the person who chooses to break free from that trauma, but instead cling to that trauma for dear life? Why not choose to be the difference maker within your own lineage? Again, I'm not going to take away from the fact that your ancestors, my ancestors, went through what they went through. We only had independence in 1980. My dad was in the first class of integrated peoples in his school. In a colonized society, all they knew was colonial Zimbabwe. That's all they knew. And so for them, they had to break out of a lot of these psychological trappings, but he made sure to break those generational curses in order not to pass those things down to us. Don't give us that trauma. And maybe some people are just too selfish. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they want to be a victim and they don't give a damn what happens to the children. But I do. And I know a lot of people who do. I know a lot of people who are not looking to pass their own trauma to the next and the next, who their mama used to be a 304. And so they say, you know what? I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in the mental, emotional, and the physical degeneracy that comes from that. Thankfully, I'm seeing a lot of that in the Gen Z, right? There's a divide as per usual, but there are those who are like, I'm not about to do what my big sister or my big cousins were doing, being for the streets. I'm not about to, you know what I mean? I'm not about to gangbang. I'm not about to do whatever it is like the people who came before me. And that's how we change the cycle. We have to change the belief system, the mentality. We have to get our values back in order. It's the only way, folks. And any quote unquote leader who is saying anything other than that, who is preaching anything other than personal agency, that individual is not for your good. They don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about your best and highest good. They're selling.
In other words, the people we've been talking about on my channel forever, the race hustlers, we're talking Al Sharpton, Congressional Black Caucus, NAACP, all of the gatekeepers, the race hustlers, none of these people. This guy is saying the same thing that we've been saying, folks.
you a narrative of your victimhood in order for them to benefit from it. BLM, first summer, they pop out of nowhere, right? First, the George Floyd summer, $90 million made in one summer from donations.
Yep.
Where's the money now? We're going to do.
Check the videos. If you are new to the channel, I have lambasted BLM. They say that they are here for the Black community. It was never about the Black community. They're just collecting millions and millions of dollars and buying mansions for the leaders or so-called leaders, the people who founded Black Lives Matter. So people need to do their research, folks, and they're just an extended arm of the Democratic Party. So let's continue.
This, we got to change this, we got to change that. So, okay, y'all defunded the police, y'all collected all these funds, and y'all bought mansions in California.
Yep.
In white neighborhoods, mind you. Right? That's what y'all did.
Can't make this.
Y'all went on vacations. Y'all bought all kinds of expensive luxury goods.
You've heard. Sound familiar? Again, those of you who've been here on the channel, I've said this forever. It was never about Black lives. Okay, don't get it twisted. The only time you hear about Black Lives Matter is when we know the narrative. Anytime a white person kills a Black person, that's the Black Lives Matter. That's their we know that's what they look for, right? That's the narrative. They don't talk about all the young Black males that kill other Black people every year. They don't say a word. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zero.
Oh, but that's an anomaly. No, it's not the anomaly. Go to Al Sharpton. Go to Jesse Jackson. Go to any of these individuals' history and see. You know, somebody tried to call me a grifter one time. Oh, speaking for the white man, speaking for the white man. I said, do you know how easy it would be for me to just pander as a Black man? I get attacked for saying these things because I'm Black. If I just pandered like a Kamala Harris or whatever it may be, if I just pandered like D.L. Hughley or Charlemagne or one of these charlatans, I would have Black folks praising me. But instead, I choose to tell the truth because I am beholden to the truth and nothing else. It would be so easy for me to just pander. It's like the same thing with relationship advice. You know, if I just pandered to women and told y'all, you know, you're perfect, you ain't got to do nothing, you never have to change. You are the table, you are the kitchen cabinet, you are the sink, you are the curtains, you're the drapes. No, I'm not going to tell you that. There's likely that you have to do things in order to get the relationship that you want. And that means introspection. That means healing from certain traumas. That means showing up differently in the world. You can't show up with all of the attitude and all of the, you know, rah-rah energy and get what you want out of a relationship situation. You got to step into your feminine. I'm going to say these things because it's the truth, not because it's going to get me popular. Trust me, if I was just after popularity, I promise you, all I would have to say all day till I'm damn blue in the face, all day long, you know, the white man is after you. The white man, see, the system of white supremacy, it's not even the white man necessarily, it's the system of white supremacy that has infiltrated every single one of our institutions. That is the reason why you can't get your ass out of bed. If it was not for the white man, your ass would be out of the bed and you would be grinding towards your future, but you can't do any of that because of the white supremacist system. You see, if it wasn't for the constructs of colonial whiteness and your self-hatred and deprecation due to the white man, you would actually do what you said you were going to do for the last 10 years, every single New Year's. You understand? That's all that is. It's not you. You know what I mean? You can't help yourself. Yep. You can't make a different decision for yourself to do something different. The reason why you are obese morbidly is because of white supremacy. It's white supremacy, not the fact that you continue to stuff your mouth filled with things that are going to lead you to be. It's not because you continue to fill yourself up like a gas gauge or a gas tank and carbohydrates or your oil or your fuel. It's not because of that. It's not because you're not getting yourself in the gym when you say you're going to, or keeping an actual regimen to work out and continue to move your body. Less calories in than you. It's not any of that. Surely it's not that. It's the white man. If I sat here and said that, talk slick all day, I would have a massive following of individuals who would be cheering me on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, King. Yes, King. How do I know that? Because before I was. And I wasn't even looking to pander. I didn't know what type of energy I was putting. I didn't know what type of audience I was drawing. I lost 1,500 followers the day before from the day before the election until the 6th. So like in a 3-day period, I lost 1,500 followers on IG. But the worst part was people going in on me. Now, it was actually technically a freeing experience, but I didn't know. I was like, damn, all of y'all, whoa. And I didn't do nothing. It wasn't nothing crazy, nothing severe, nothing like that. It was an actual comedy video that I put out, a skit, a little 20, 30-second joint. And people were going off. I said, oh my God, this is new. This is definitely new. I said, oh, because y'all listen to my information, my relationship, self-love, and y'all didn't think I was talking about you. You thought I was talking about everybody else needs to do these things. Oh, you were using this as a means to, oh, okay, gotcha. I created a community filled with narcissists. Okay, oops. My bad. Recalibrate. That's what I had to do. And so again, folks, slavery, every group of people has experienced it at scale. People look at them pyramids in Egypt and they want to believe that the person who built them pyramids was the.
Again, if you check, and if you've been here for a while, I have a couple of books. I'm going to finish playing this. And then I'll hold that up. But yeah, everything that he's saying, I have talked about. And I'm just like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air. So let me let him finish here.
That nobody, it was hundreds of thousands, if not in the millions of slaves. Remember the story of Moses, whether you believe it's real or not, but they were talking about how the reason why Moses had to run away is because he ended up unaliving one of the slavers, the slave masters, who was whipping one of the slaves. He was being whipped. So you believe that whipping just was invented in the 1700s? There was an infrastructure of slavery on the African coasts because they're already doing it within their own spaces.
That's it.
You go into the Eurasian continent of Europe or Asia, it was already happening. The Ottoman Empire, already happening. You go into the ancient Sumerians, if you want to, already happening. That's why it's written all up in the Bible. They weren't talking about no damn 1700s. They were talking about 6,000, 7,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's a dark stain. But when we allow that to be the story that holds us back, we're just using as an excuse, to be honest. And I'm done with excuses, not just because they're annoying. Like, that's one thing. They're annoying as hell. But it's keeping you away from the thing that you actually want. And that's the worst part for me, is to see people stuck throughout their entire lives. There's nothing worse than to see somebody in the same place every single year. I know what that feeling is like, and I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling. To say, damn, I went by another 3-5 years and nothing. I have nothing to show for it. What I got? Some cool little swag. Oh, I bought some cool little stuff here and there. But I got nothing to show for it? Absolutely not. I'm going to give myself over to my purpose. I'm going to give myself over to my mission. I'm going to devote myself to my own life. Stop being a hater. Stop pocket watching. Stop doing all these types of things. Stop blaming everybody else. And buckle down and do what I got to do to make things happen, period.
That's right.
Simple as that.
That's all.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to drink more water. We all need more water in our life.
All right. So, and that's basically what I wanted to share with you. Again, if you've been here on the channel for a while, I have a couple of Thomas Sowell's books, and I can tell just from the way this young man is talking, he has definitely been reading some Thomas Sowell. So it does give me some hope for the future. I just wish that, and I think Thomas Sowell, he's about 91, 92, something like that. He's up there. But I just wish that, he's such an important resource, and he's so intelligent, There's just so many things he could do to help this country. And it's just a shame that we did not use such a vital resource like Thomas Sowell. And he's still alive. And so I wanted to share that with you because, again, I came across this channel and I was like, oh my God, this guy is saying everything that I have said. And I love it. And tell me what you think. Leave comments in the comment section. I will definitely respond. And thank you again for spending your very valuable time here at the Rolynn's Reviews YouTube channel. And hope to see you soon.